The Holliday House is a Victorian-style mansion in Marion, South Carolina that was constructed for Jesse Gray Holliday in 1895. Shortly after its build, it was termed the prettiest spot on the railway between Wilmington and Columbia. Jesse was a livestock farmer who built the home for his wife Sarah Norman Davis, with dreams of raising a family there. They had a daughter, Mary, prior to moving into the home. A second daughter, Jessie, sadly died in infancy at just 6 months of age. Cause of death was not listed in the historical records that were available. In 1897, another daughter, Lula, died at 3 years of age. Cause of death also not listed in historical records reviewed. Then, in 1898, their only son, affectionately referred to as Little Frank, died at just 2 years of age from phosphorus poisoning, a result of eating match heads. He had become very sick, and a physician was called to their home. Unfortunately, the poisoning could not be counteracted, and he passed away. Adding to family tragedy, just 3 years after Little Frank's death, Jesse's wife Sarah would meet her untimely demise at the age of just 33. She was admitted for a surgical procedure in Sumter, South Carolina, and died during the surgery. Jesse, having lost most of his family since living in his new home, was distraught. Given the degree of misfortune he encountered, he may have even considered that perhaps the home was cursed. It has even been said that it became known to some as the House of the Dead. In cementing its reputation, it ultimately became a funeral home. Jesse did not spend the rest of his days in the Holliday House. He remarried to Bessie Godbold, and they made a new home together. He and Bessie went on to have 4 daughters together, all who lived into old age, the oldest passing at the age of 89. Jesse himself lived until the age of 79, ultimately dying from a heart attack at the home he shared with Bessie. His obituary read, "Mr. Holliday was a man of congenial disposition and was always available to his host of friends and acquaintances in time of need." Though his obituary reports he died in Columbia, his body was taken back to Marion and he was buried in Rose Hill Cemetery, along with Sarah and his children that passed before him. The passage of ownership of the Holliday House after Sarah's death is uncertain, and there seems to be some gaps in its history. However, it ultimately was passed to Pearlie B. and William H. Smith, who repurposed the building as Smith Brothers Funeral Home. It was there that the Smith brothers spent the remainder of their days as embalmers and undertakers. Neither of the Smith brothers are recorded to have had children. William lost an only daughter at birth in 1943. The Smith Brothers Funeral Home eventually became the Smith Collins Funeral Home. In the 1970s, the property was added to the National Register of Historic Places, contributing to Marion's historic district. Sadly, the building suffered significant damage, including blown-out windows and a tattered roof during 2 separate hurricanes. Hurricane Matthew in 2016, and again by Hurricane Florence in 2018. It has been said that the funeral home owners were unable to repair the property. After serving the community for many decades, the Smith Collins Funeral Home relocated, leaving behind furniture and many other items, perhaps in hopes that it would someday reopen. However, that never happened, and it became abandoned. The building sat vacant until early 2024, when the property was purchased by a team of paranormal investigators who are working diligently at restoring the building to beautiful form. The house is open currently for tours and paranormal investigations. Our group was one of the first to perform a paranormal investigation there. The full history of this home and its land are largely unknown. It is speculated to have been a plantation prior to becoming the site of the Holliday house. Some of the paranormal activity that the current owners experience is shrouded in mystery. The presence of a man they believe to be named Joseph hangs out in one of the upstairs bedrooms. They say he seems to be quite particular and will move things around, including the curtains if he does not like the way they are tied. There are several Josephs in the Holliday family lineage, including Jesse's father and a brother of Jesse's. But due to the amount of potentially lost souls who have passed through the home, it is difficult to say who Joseph is or where he came from. A bedroom next to Joseph's seems to host the spirit of a woman, but who the woman is and what may have transpired in that room remains unknown. Sarah's bedroom, across the hall from the room they call Joseph's, is known to host an array of activity as well. During our day tour, several members of our group experienced a distinct flowery perfume smell, though there was nothing in the room to explain the scent. Just beyond Sarah's room is the children's room. Today it houses many dolls and the suspected spirits of the Holliday family children. Even further beyond that room is a small living quarters that is unknown in its purpose, but has been suspected to have been a servant's quarters. In this room, several members of our group felt pressure around their neck or chest and had an extra sense of heaviness that could be felt upon entering. I personally felt touched on the back of the neck while alone in this room. An attic remains closed currently for renovations and rests deserted above an intricately designed set of staircases. An unexpected portion of the building was just recently discovered during renovations: a hidden basement. A psychic who visited the home had told the current owners that bodies were buried under the tree out front of the home and one buried in the basement. At the time, they were unaware that the building even had a basement, as it was not on any floor plans they obtained, and its existence was not apparent. Some months later, when knocking out parts of the walls to assess the piping, they found a room that housed an entrance to the now boarded up, sealed off, hidden basement. Though in spending time there, it seems quite apparent the home is haunted, the details of some of the hauntings are perplexing. The activity there presents more and more questions than its known history can answer. such as, can the souls of the dead become trapped in a place they never actually died in? What happened on this land or in this building that may have it cursed, particularly in the business of claiming children? What may have transpired within this home that is not in the historical records? And is there a portal there? Still, other areas of the building have readily apparent reasons for why they may be host to paranormal activity, including the embalming room. This room houses the original embalming table and embalming machine, still in working order. Original sheets stained with human body juices, and an array of empty embalming fluid bottles. Clothing of the deceased, those whose bodies arrived there for funeral preparations, also remain in the home, most still labeled with the name of the person they belonged to. A tree just outside of the building was the site of a known suicide. A local man came to the funeral home one day and shot himself under that tree. It is presumed that the spirits of Sarah Norman Davis and the lost Holliday children still reside within these walls, perhaps coexisting with other souls within this house of the dead. To witness our shocking paranormal experience in this haunted location, please join us on our paranormal investigation of the Holliday House on YouTube.